Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Gavin and Marvin podcast. You've got Gavin Attore live from Wales, where he's been living, but he also looks after the set of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. He's the one that cultivates the critters. And you've got me, Marvin, up here in the East Midlands, just running the show, really. It's the centre of the country. Anyone that doesn't know it, everything that happens in UK comes via Derby, and I just send things out. I just sit there. If you like football, I'd be the N'Golo Kante of Derby. Just distribution, bang, bang, bang. Everything's here. Is there any other way of describing me? You're a bug. I'm the important person.
You can't do a good job and send this variant off, can you? Just this new one.
Mate, listen. I've got a little sample here. Marvin Magic, it's called. Right? Yeah. One little, not even injection. Little teaspoon of that cures everything. Okay. Cultivated in England with a bit of Jamaican magic. Just like me. Gavin, we're on part 3 today of a trilogy. And I'm just thinking of our other trilogies now because we've covered a few. RoboCop, I think when it got to 3, it lost its legs a bit, to be honest. Yeah. The new one's not bad. Batman was good. Do you think? Other good trilogies? I know Batman was like remade and all sorts, but I think there was a good through. Just thinking of another one. I think once you've gone past 3 films, I mean, look at what happened to the Fast and the Furious. It just, honestly, I'm sure they ended up in space in the last one. Ridiculous.
Yeah, mental. There's only so far you can take stuff in it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's only so far we can take this, and that's where we're at today. We've hit the final week. We're talking about getting Gav ripped. All right. If you've not seen on his Instagram at Gavin Attore, Gavin's done a photo shoot. I want to know more about it because in 10 years, when I get to Gav's age, I'd like to look as good as him. Obviously, at the moment, I'm not going to let it slip because I'm already at high level, body double to The Rock. They've asked me to refilm Baywatch 2. You name it, I'm it. But Gavin's obviously been through the motions now with all of the lifestyle disadvantages and barriers that we all have, office work, kids, shifts, all sorts. But we are into week 3. The final week, part 3. Part 1 was about your training leading up to this. Part 2 was about nutrition to their previous episodes. And part number 3 today we're just going to talk about that final week when you was at home, not eating, shaking on the floor, hallucinating, and you couldn't even, you was on one piece of hay from the local farm per day. Now, is that true? Is that what happens, or is it something different? That's what I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's what most people associate with it. And
of course they do.
Be like.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you're not going to be hungry, because you will. Hunger is going to be part of it. Your energy levels will drop. Like you're going to feel flat, no energy, but it's not to the point where, like you just mentioned, shaking on the floor, things like that. So, and this is where the mentality of going through a bit of discomfort, people need to just accept it's going to happen.
Okay.
Actually shift their mindset and thinking, this is my opinion anyway, shift their mindset and thinking, I can't do that, to let me see what I can do. Let me see how far I can push it and actually enjoy the process, because it's actually working. Do you know what I mean? Like that hunger that I got, okay, it wasn't where I needed to eat my arm off. It was just, I was hungry. It's not a panic button. I'm not going to, nothing bad's going to happen. It's just, I'm hungry. I'm doing it for a purpose. The hunger will end. It's not the end of the world. The energy through training, especially through the last week, where I did take my carbs down, but only for 3 days. So I was the lowest calories I've been in years. It was about 1,700, I think I went to, for 3 days.
Key fact to that, Gav, because I'm going off now the average person that doesn't know this kind of stuff. You look at somebody that's ripped, you associate it with no carb diets, restrictive diets. That's not the case, is it?
No. So, and people go, oh, well, yeah, you did low carb. Well, I did low carb for a reason. So this is where we need to, I didn't go into a lot of detail on the training on part 1 of this, but when we talk about intensity and things like that, and I did mention drop sets and clusters and rest pause and so on. So in my last few weeks, and even leading in like the last 6 to 8 weeks, I was training hard. The intensity was high. We were using drop sets and so on there, because you want all of that energy out of the muscle. So the flatter you are, the more that, like, if there's no energy within the muscle there, the body's going to want to utilize body fat as energy at that point. And it's not to say that body fat get used within the training session, because essentially you're using the glycogen of the muscle. It's after the training session where your calories are still low. There's no stored energy to be playing about with, and the body will just use body fat because your work is at a lower level and it's going to be utilized. So and there's free fatty acids in the bloodstream as well, because you just been training hard. So going into the last 6 or 8 weeks, the intensity ramped up more. Obviously calories were being tweaked. And we did use, like, you can do this with like upper body, lower body splits. I was only training legs once a week, but the leg session was
for a reason.
It was tough. And I was using one body part per day at that point, and I was literally going as hard as I could for that body part and depleting everything out of that body part.
Yeah. Because
then you got the ability to recover. So imagine I did chest, back, and shoulders in one session and just obliterated all of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be in the gym for 2 hours for a start, just do all of that. And I wouldn't have the energy to recover afterwards. So it's like one body part I can recover from, bang, go to the next one. But you can utilize it in a way where you can do chest and back one day, you can do arms one day, you can do legs, and then you might work on a different body part that you want to bring up, for example. So it might be shoulders, right? And just focus on that. But you go to work on it, and then you've got like 4 or 5 days a week that you can train. Make sense? So that was basically the crux of how I worked the training. Now, in the last week, where I did take my carbohydrates down, it was only for 3 days, and it was only low calorie for 3 days. So in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that tough. Those 3 days did suck because I was used to eating carbohydrates quite a lot. So I took my carbs away, but I still had potatoes in the evening, right? I still had a bit of toast for breakfast in the morning, albeit a bit less. Potatoes stayed the same. So essentially, I was still having some good food in there, right? I was having about 75 to 80 grams of carbohydrates for those 3 days. Then so what's the point of that? Well, I'm depleting, like as you said, I'm depleting even more glycogen out of the muscles. My body's dropping it. I want to be as flat as possible. So when I'm going to put the carbs back in, the uptake is way better. I'm still training at that point. So I'm causing the contractions. The muscles will want to suck that in. So then I shifted. Now this is where day to day, we had to do things a little bit off the cuff, where we would look at pictures. We would look at body weight and see what was happening with the body weight in the pictures to see how full I was getting. And it was like the first day, I think we hit 350 grams of carbs, mainly from fast acting carbs like rice. And I was using lemon sorbet after my last meal. So it was like 300 grams of lemon sorbet. I was freaking it. It was mental. Like I'd put it in the dish and Beth like, are you eating all that? Like, yeah, I got like 50 grams of carbs. I got to get it in. Like, nailing it. And the next morning, woke up, I was still feeling flat. So I was like, right, another 50 grams of carbs that day. So I bumped it up to 400.
Right.
Like eating 400 grams of carbs every day from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then the Monday was the photo shoot.
Right.
So the meal plan still stayed the same. All I changed was it was 2 rice meals. My last meal stayed potatoes. My first meal stayed eggs with toast. And then after my last meal, I had 300 grams of sorbet. Nice. So it was fast acting carbs, get into the muscles and so on.
Yeah.
On the photo shoot day, didn't make any different changes. Wasn't like water loading, salt, anything, any stuff like that. Keep it simple. I went in, had my breakfast as normal. I had my rice, chocolate, protein, rice pudding. Went to the shoot. I had a Snickers bars and a Turkish Delight half an hour before training.
I saw that on Instagram. Yeah. I voted for Snickers, by the way.
Did you?
I'm not about Turkish Delight, mate. No way.
Oh, mate.
I don't like the jelly taste. It's a horrible feeling. Nah, I'm not into it. Texture's not good for me.
Snickers was good though, to be fair.
Snickers is good.
But yeah, I just fueled that up. And I was training for a bit because the photographer that I used, he's an unbelievable photographer, but he'd never done fitness before.
Right.
It took him a while to get his head around a few things. So that it lasted a little bit longer than what we would normally do for a photo shoot. So I had a few fruit pastels in between sets and stuff, just to keep it going. But that was it. And then after that, just real good session. The photos came out really well.
Yeah.
Pump was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely insane. And then just chilled out afterwards, came home, saw the kids, and we went out for a nice Italian pizza in the evening, and then back to home.
It's just so nice to hear it that way, because the perception and the visuals of it is all people see. And I think that's why it's important to do this, because people are going to look at it, they're going to brand you as a certain way. We talked on the last episode about people saying, oh, you've got an eating plan, it's an eating disorder and all this. You've just got to understand that it's a process. It's something you wanted to do. You had an end goal, a target, we called it, something you wanted to work towards. You've achieved it, but the underlying message, you've achieved it with your daily schedule, with what you currently do, with your family and lifestyle, at the age that you are. Not that you're old and decrepit, but it's associated with an age where people can't do this. They don't have the time. They're busy people, young children, blah, blah, blah. And they're all barriers, but you can do it. And what's also nice here is, yeah, we did that. And then at night time, went for a pizza with the kids, because that's what people like me and you do. Yeah. You know, we're not, you know, we joke about it, but we're not these robots that people think they are in the gym that's doing this day in, day out. And to be honest with you, it's never really been anything different. There's been times in our life where we've been stricter, when I've done events before, or you've been training for something and it's a period of time, but you know, we know how to party, put it that way. You know, yeah. I've demonstrated that on the high street in Taiwan. So, you know, we know how to do it.
That night goes down in legendary status, mate. Bloody hell, that was an epic night.
Just leave it as a cliffhanger. No one will ever know. We'll never put it on a podcast. But if anyone ever wants to catch us, you know, they want to know how to have a good night in Taiwan, you let me know.
Private DMs.
Got to be a Thursday night though.
Yeah, only on a Thursday.
It's the only night possible. I'm sure it's all changed now, Gav. But anyway, back to this. Everyday people can do this. We talked about setting targets, having something there. I also thought of another point as we go through this as well. We mentioned photographers and photo shoots. And when you see people on Instagram, people like yourself, good coaches that have done it, or influencers that are doing it, you see this photo shoot at the end in a gym, shirt off, oiled up, looking great, all that. That's fine. But let me talk to you about some other people I know that have done something similar to this. It doesn't have to be that way. It could be a family photo shoot. It could be, there's plenty of photographers out there, my brother being one of them, where he's got a studio. It could be just a photo shoot with you in a suit, in something nice, something as a gift for somebody for Christmas or a birthday, an anniversary, or just a personal goal. And you just want a set of photos of you, because, you know, this is about you. Be a bit selfish, because I think we need to be a little bit more, you know, people, we do like, you know, other people and helping other people. But when you're talking about your health, we're talking about you, your health, the way you operate. Set yourself a target, book yourself a photographer. Get yourself to a professional photographer at the end. You don't have to be shirtless. You don't have to be in your underwear. It doesn't matter. It could just be a picture of you looking and feeling great, and you want to celebrate that. And people do it for wedding anniversaries or the actual wedding. But look, the underlying message is set yourself these targets and goals and work towards them with somebody that's going to give you structure and in a way that's achievable for you, because it is. It doesn't matter if we're talking about running a marathon or doing a photo shoot like you did.
Like a lot of clients when I was at the gym, we used to do that because it would just mark the end of a period of them achieving something. It didn't have to be six-pack ready, or most clients were in vests and so on, and they changed body shape. You can see when they started to where they finished, and it wasn't about getting their shirt off and their clothes off and so on. It was just, you've done so well over this certain period of time. Yeah. But what you have to remember is, and this is the thing that I took away, and I've always said it, and every time I achieve a certain goal, I look back and it's not what I've done in the photo shoot. There's the thing that I took away from it. Yeah. Like, yeah, okay, the photos look fantastic, but it was like there's many moments through that journey that you go through that you realize how much you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
There's imprinted in my brain right now is a specific leg workout I did through the 5 months that will be imprinted in my brain forever. Yeah. Where I thought, there's no way I could do this again. And I did. I had to do it. It was on plan. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like this, you can push yourself more than you think. And once you get past that point where you think you can't do any more, and you do, at the end of this photo shoot, you're not thinking, right, that's it. It's like, what else can I do? Yeah. Your mindset just shifts. It's like, now I want to look the same, like keep the condition I am as best as possible, but I want to come in about 3 kilos heavier.
Yeah, the psychology and the mental health of it is such a huge component, Gav. I mean, I can totally resonate with you when you saying that. You know, I've not done a photo shoot like that before. I might do, like I said, when I get to your age, an old man. But when when I was younger, you know, I was crazy enough to do an Ironman, and it was the same kind of thing. You know, you went through. It wasn't the event. The actual Ironman was the celebration of your training. That's the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
It was that's like the graduation at university where you get your paper, but the hard work you put in before, the studying and all that comes through with it, that's the bit where you learn more about yourself. And you know, we see it all the time on I like watching partner, we like watching that SAS program, you know, where they do the SAS Who Dares Wins and all that, the celebrity one, all that, and you see people when they come off the show and they're like, I learned so much about myself today, because it wasn't necessarily about winning the event, because at the end of it, it's just like you got to the end. But some of them go out after a few days and say, I've learned so much about myself. I've understood what I can achieve, and I'm happy with that because it's pushed them so far. I mean, even people that in the past that have been like champion boxers, and they've learned more about themselves on an army assault course than they did in a ring. And I just think that's that uncomfortability of it, if that's the word, that taking you to that next, that's when people learn a bit more and they get to, and I think there's satisfaction in that. We know that from health and fitness, you get, you know, there's a sense of achievement. There's also the hormones that release that makes you happy after exercise. I think that it's not, I'm hoping that most of the people listening to this are converted. They already like exercise, which is why they're listening to this. But there are always going to be a percentage of people listening to this that need a bit of inspiration, and they're looking to us for that. And I think that what we can say is that exercise is a type of drug that once you start doing it, you get addicted to, and you start loving it. And you know, 21 years deep in this, so it's not a hobby anymore. It's a way of life for us, and it's an income, and it's what we love doing. But just pulling it back, last point, and I promise I'll be quiet. But you got me inspired as well, Gav. I think I'm going to set my photo shoot now. You know, me and you now, just because of the way our careers have panned out, have just kind of, we're not joined at the hip anymore or sharing hotel beds and rooms in Taiwan. But you know, the days will come back. Don't you worry. But I'm now at a point where I'm helping and consulting with operators and leisure clubs and facilities all over the world about their experience and how to engage members. Because what we need to do is we need to understand. I went on Google the other day. I was talking about customer experience in the gym, and if you Google how many people have got a gym membership in the world, it's less than 3%. Now, it's only Google. I don't know where that data comes from. I don't know how they do it, but they estimate about 3% of people have a gym membership. Doesn't mean they're not doing exercise. Doesn't mean that number is not higher, because I have heard people say that around 20% of the people do some form of recreational exercise. The point is, it's such a small percentage in the world of people doing health, fitness, and exercise. It's tiny. And unfortunately, what we do very badly in the fitness industry is we do market research on how to keep people in the gyms and how to inspire them, but we do it on the 3%. Yeah. So and only 3% of the 3% actually fill in the survey. So we don't get great information. What I want to understand more is about the 80% of the world, the population that don't exercise, and why they don't. I think that's a bigger question. But when I do talk to these gyms about getting people in the gym and inspiring them, setting the date, and that's again the underlying message of this whole 3-part series, of you set a date before you started, you plan the journey, you work towards it, you achieve that target. Whether it's a photo shoot, Kilimanjaro, at the moment, that's not the question, it's the process. And I say to gyms, how are you going to engage your members? Every quarter or every other month, or however it might be, once a year, there is an event at your club for your members. And I'm not talking about just a night out. That's a great reward, but it could be you enter an obstacle race. It could be that you go and do an army assault course with your members, an overnight stay somewhere. You know, you do something for charity. It's always great to get people involved. But
I wanted to do something in before I left the gym, where obviously COVID put things into perspective with that one. But I wanted the programs to revolve around improving the main aspects of longevity. So when we look at what we're training for and so on, you look at the photo shoot that I just did, what was the main goal? Improve muscle mass, get lean and healthier and so on. But if you look at longevity, the two predictors of longevity that we know of are muscle mass and VO2 max. Okay, so I wanted a program systems in the gym where we could monitor those two things, but also we come together every quarter, every 6 months, or every year, whatever it was, and we would do a modified CrossFit Games type of thing, where it wasn't a CrossFit Games where it was just like cleaner presses
Olympic lifts,
this thing. It's like we structured. Now I'm trademarking this before anybody like goes and copies this out. If
on
you
record,
want
it's on video.
I came up with this first. So I used in the morning, there was 3 parts to this day. In the morning, you would test your strength, right? So we would do specific lifts, and then out of those lifts, you would then translate that into a conditioning-based weights training workout. Make sense?
Yep.
Like you would have X amount of reps for these lifts with this percentage of weight based off the test in the morning, and you will go. How long would it take you to do that? Make sense?
Yeah.
The third part is how fast could you do your 2,000 meter row?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the numbers on Concept website, the 2,000 meter row is very close to your VO2 max. Like the test procedure is very, very close. It's one of the most accurate ones. So you could use that as a VO2 max test. You've got strength and you've got conditioning with the weight training as well in between. And now all you're going to do each year is improve the strength numbers. If you keep your body weight like low enough, the relative strength gains you're going to make is insane. You're going to move quicker throughout everything else as well. But then you've got the total tonnage you're going to lift from the time-based workout. So if your weight goes up in your strength training, the total tonnage is going to go up on your time-based workout as well. If you improve that and your conditioning goes up, you're going to do it in less time. Yeah. Like you're going to get jacked at the end of the day anyway, if that's your goal. But then you know that you're going to put on good muscle tissue and you're going to improve your VO2 max. Yeah. And obviously part of the year is going to be conditioning based as well because you're doing a rowing event. So that was my goal in terms of having that. And then, like you just said, people come together every 6 months, a year, whatever it is. And that's an event. Yeah. Yeah. So that's like a different photo shoot. You're coming together to see what you've done. Yeah. At the end of the day. So it's just a different form of photo shoot and you just celebrate that. Yeah. But you don't celebrate, you do celebrate the improvements. But what you're going to look back on is how hard you work to see those improvements. That's right. You know what I mean? That was what I wanted to do in the gym. I thought that was graduation. That's good. Yeah. Well, the ceremony's now. So Gavin, we'd like to present you this award today. I'm looking around what I could present you with. It's the ibuprofen gel anti-inflammatory. A tub of Ben and Jerry's or something now. No, you don't get that for me, mate. No. Gav, well done. It's great work. I think what also it does, and you're humble enough to not say it, but I'll say it. What it does do is it also, and why it's good to do it, is it represents the work and the study and the hard work that you've put in over your career in the fitness industry, and you continue to strive for that next level. But you just put in what you continue to share with us and everybody else to practice, and no better person to do it as yourself. You're proving that what you're saying works. You're showing us and demonstrating it. I think you're leading from the front with that. So well done. Keep going. When I do my photo shoot, obviously it'll be much better than yours. But to be honest, if I did do one, I probably will at one point. I'll get everything sorted. My daughter's a bit younger than your kids, but once we get everything sorted, I've had some work going on at the house. Once I get sorted, if I get there, when I get there, I'm sure it'll all be because of you and the work and study we've done together anyway. So good work. Thank you, mate. Thanks, Gavin. Thanks everyone for listening, and I hope you can join us again on another Gavin and Marvin podcast. Cast. It's the special effects.